Hey everyone, welcome to Old Iron Garage. Thank you for tuning in. So this evening, I'm out here in the garage. I'm going to be working on a project that I was working on not long ago. I'm going to be picking up where I left off, and that is with the carburetor. The project is the Bolens Husky 18 push mower. Yeah, very basic push mower. Stamped steel deck, little Tecumseh engine, 18-inch cut. Yeah, if you have not seen the previous videos on that push mower, I would recommend going back and watching those first. But anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and dive in and pick up right where I left off. So, when I left off on this project, when I was last working on this project, daggone it now. Sorry, I need to get a better camera holder. There we go. I was working on the carburetor. To find out what happened to the carburetor, go back and watch the previous videos. But anyways, so yeah, let's go ahead and get the carburetor out. So it has been a minute. So in case you watched the videos and do not remember what happened when I was going through this carburetor, I cleaned it, and as I was putting it back together, the seat for the float needle, it had swollen up and was too big. And I went to try to carefully use a pick and pull it out, and it just disintegrated. I was going to pull it out and take a look at it, but yeah, it just disintegrated. Yeah, anyways. So, I ordered a set of carb kits, Tecumseh carb rebuild kits that I think I could make work for, or at least use some pieces for, this carburetor, and here they are. See, I wrote on it. I like to, when I get parts in, I like to write on it what it's for. Here they are. There's a set of 6 of them here. They're just a very basic carburetor kit. It is literally a bowl gasket, a needle seat, and then the gasket that goes around the little screw that holds on the bowl. That's all that it is. Oftentimes, that's really all you need for such a basic carburetor. I may go ahead and just clean it again. All right. Huh, okay. I would have thought that would have been 7/16, but I guess I was wrong. Man, I got all these little bugs flying around in here because the garage door's open. It's too hot and humid, even late at night. Right now, well after the sun's gone down. It's actually quite late right now. It's like well into the early morning hours, technically. Yeah, I got a lot of little bugs flying around. It's way too hot and humid to not have the door open. This bowl gasket still feels like it'll probably work. I don't see any cracks in it, actually. I do see some very fine cracks in it. So I will be replacing this as soon as I verify that this one is the same size, and it is not the same size. Darn. I have no guarantee that these parts will work for this carburetor, but I think they might. Possibly. Some of them. Clearly not the bowl gasket. But I do somewhere have a set of other Tecumseh bowl gaskets. So I may possibly have something that will work for me. So I'm not quite doomed to just using that one just yet. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the needles. And the needles are also different. They are different lengths. But the needle seat, that's the main thing. That's the biggest thing. Let's see what happens if I just try to drop it in the hole gently. It goes nice and snug in the hole. I'm not going to push it all the way down in there just yet. I believe this needle seat will work. That's the main thing. That's the biggest thing. So when I took this carburetor apart, one thing I noticed is there was this gasket on both sides of the bolt that holds on the bowl. Anytime, I know at least the majority of small 4-cycle carbs like this that I've rebuilt only have one. Majority of them that I've rebuilt at least only have one, and it's on the outside. I really don't think the one on the inside is necessary. I think somebody probably put that in there, decided to just put one on the inside. I highly doubt it's necessary. So I'm going to leave it out, and I'm going to try to run this carburetor without it. By doing that, I feel like it may squeeze the bowl gasket a little bit more and probably help it to seal up better. Looks like the one that came in the kit fits nice, and it fits nicely. So I may end up using that one. Am I certain that this bowl gasket is not right? Yeah, I have to stretch it to fit. That's not right. How badly stretched is it if I stretch it and make it fit? Let's try it once. Man, I don't know if I can. It keeps popping off the other side. It's on there now. Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, it completely fits inside the other one. That is not correct. Darn, I was really hoping I was trying and trying to find a carb kit that is correct, listed as correct for this carburetor, and did not really have any luck. So yeah, that's disappointing. I wonder if this fuel nipple actually comes out. I'm not sure if it does or not. Ooh, daggone it, these stupid bugs. So I'm going to investigate that right now. I'm going to put a wrench on here. It does not seem to want to budge, and that's not a good thing, so I'm not going to force it. Whether it actually unthreads and you can get in behind to clean or not, I'm not going to try any further than that. This carburetor could use bushings in the throttle shaft, but gonna make do with what we have. So you know what, I'm just gonna clean this and put it back together with what we have here and just see if the mower runs well before I worry about finding a different bowl gasket. I know I have some, and I know I have some in this size. I was thinking about it. I know that I do, but yeah, anyway. And I'm even actually going to use, the only thing I'm going to use from this kit is the needle seat. So I'm going to just give this another quick down and dirty cleaning. I will worry about doing everything properly later on. And at that time I will also make some new gaskets for it. I'll just cut my own. I'm going to test this flange here to see if it is flat. Yep, it looks good. Okay. Alrighty, that is done. Now I'm going to let that set. That bowl is already very clean. Yeah, I'm just going to give it a quick spray, make sure I didn't get any dust or anything in it. These other parts that I'm not going to be using are going to go ahead and go back in here right now. And you know what, I'm just going to fold this bag up and put it right back in this box to use on another carburetor. I have another part over here on the bench, and I will show you after I'm done addressing the carburetor. This pivot pin or hinge pin or whatever, the pin that holds the float and allows it to go down and back up again, has seen better days. It's not very smooth and shiny anymore. It's a little oxidized. So I'm going to address that right now. Got it chucked up in the screw gun, got some really fine grit, what is it, I can't even tell, it's very well used sandpaper, and with some penetrating oil, and I'm just going to give it a shine up. I'm going to shine it right up. Alright, now I just got to spin it around. And do the other side. Same exact thing. And there that is. That is done. Like brand new. I'm going to go ahead and spray it off. The float. Could use a little more cleaning up. I mean, it's clean, as in there's no dirt or debris on it, but I mean, it's not super clean. I usually try to get them to the point where they're pretty much shiny. So it is like clean. So I'm just going to go ahead and spend a little time with some super fine steel wool and some penetrating fluid to lubricate. Not really taking off hardly any material, I'm just taking off the oxidation. Or whatever this brown color is. I'm not even going to end up taking all of it off, just most of it. Or whatever will easily come off. Some of it's coming off real easy, some of it's real stubborn. I'm not going to spend all night on it though. good enough. Nope, this stuff. I sprayed it extra good because there's like little pieces of debris from that steel wool on my hand, and I want to make sure there's none on this carburetor, or on this float. Sorry. There we go. Now I got it. Well, it's a bit cleaner than it was. It's good enough for now. There's a little bit of scuzz in this inside this bolt. You see, there's a hole in here in the center of it, and it's crusty in there. You can see in the screwdriver exactly what I'm taking out. Man, trying to get that to focus. Yeah, anyway. That is way better than it was. You're probably not going to be able to see into here very well, but I mean, I guess you can see a little bit at the bottom. It's a little bit shinier. Whatever. It's a lot better than it was. It was flaky and scaly and crusty in there. Man, there is no mixture screw anywhere to be found on this carburetor. That's crazy. I kind of wonder if maybe there used to be one in the bottom at some point in time. There is not now. Get off of my bench. Stupid bugs. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this. I am going to go ahead and put this needle seat in. I'm going to give it a little bit of lubrication going in. To kind of help it. That is going to be too big to fit in the hole. Okay, let me see what I have here. You know, I have a screwdriver I could probably sacrifice because it doesn't really mean much to me. Would this fit? Let me pull this back out of there and let's see if this screwdriver will fit in this hole. And if it does, I may sacrifice it to make it a convert it to be a needle seat install tool. Clean this thing before I go sticking it in the hole. Oh! I'm taking the paint off. Oh no. With the carburetor cleaner. Blue fingers. That's okay. I got some red spray paint. I like red better anyway. This is a Craftsman screwdriver, but it's the only one I have of this set. It's just kind of an oddball in my toolbox. Okay. It does not fit, but it almost fits. It kind of makes me want to Kind of makes me want to just kind of carefully grind it down. I'm going to think on that. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while I think on that for a little bit. I'll bring you guys back in a bit when I find something to carefully push that needle seat down in with. Alright, so I made a little tool. I did not sacrifice that screwdriver, though I may at a later time. Took this machine screw and it just quite didn't fit, so I chucked it up in the screw gun and used some penetrating oil and some like 80 grit sandpaper to take the threads down a bit, and it just fits. I did clean it up before I jammed it down in there. It just slides nicely down in there. So now, with a little bit of penetrating oil again, oh, come on now. I'm going to set this in place and get it started with my finger. I'm going to start gently. Get off of me. Darn bugs. And start just gently working this down in until it is bottomed out. And it is installed. So now let's see if I have a proper fit between the needle and the seat. Install the polished up float pin. It appears that that is bottomed out, and the float looks to be about where it should be. Now, let's see if we have a seal. Can you hear that? Ugh. Penetrating oil, it has a funky flavor to it. Get a little closer, see if you can hear it. So if you don't know what I'm doing, with the carburetor, with the needle, seat, and float installed, and the carburetor upside down, just the gravity using the weight of the float to push the needle and seat closed. Ah, itchy nose. You should not be able to blow any air through the needle and seat. It should completely seal that off. Now when you lift up to open the needle and seat, it should allow air to pass freely, restricted only by the size of the hole. When you let go, it should completely shut off the flow of air again. And that is exactly what it's doing. So that was a success. So I'm just going to go ahead and reassemble it with what I have here. Carefully. You know what, I think this was flipped the other way, and that's the way I would like to put it back. So I'm going to flip it over. Okay, looking at this, I see that there is a decent sized gap between the inside of the bowl and the bottom of that stem that comes down in the carburetor. So it appears that there actually is supposed to be a gasket in there. So I am going to go ahead and put that right back in. Now remember, this is threading into soft aluminum. So and there's not a ton of thread engagement. It's not like it's a long bolt. So you do not want to over tighten these. That's all the more I dare go. So this carburetor for now is done. Now I'm going to turn my attention to this here. So the intake also has a gasket on it. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not going to peel this gasket off. Yeah, it's not really wanting to come off easily. It is glued on there pretty good. Not literally glued, it's very stuck. So I'm going to just the best I can with the gasket still on there. I'm going to try to take a peek. I don't see any, I can't see through there, so this is nice and flat. This flange is nice and flat, or flat enough. But I'm going to seal this up with some sealant. All of this is going to get sealed up with some sealant when I reassemble. So it'll be fine. I'm going to check this flange. That as well is nice and flat, but it could use a little cleaning up. So that is something I'm going to do right now. A little bit of penetrating oil on some 80 grit on a nice flat smooth level surface on the bench. I guess it doesn't need to be level as long as it's perfectly flat. I'm not going to make it look like brand new. I'm not going to do this all night or anything. It's just, I'm just going to make it to where it's clean and shiny all the way around. To where I know that all the way around that hole, I have a good sealing surface. And that will do. That's really all the more I need. If I want to take it any further, I will worry about that later. If this has to come off again in the future. So that is now done. I'm going to let this dry for a little bit while I turn my attention to the next part. Get out of here. Stinking bugs. I'll tell you what, they're driving me absolutely up the wall. They are bad tonight. So this part, it just needs cleaned up, but it's pretty ugly. It's got all this black crud on it. It was painted white, or maybe it's not painted. Maybe the material itself is white. This rubber tube, it's pretty hard. It's almost a plastic now, which is fine as long as it works. I'm gonna try to clean it up, see what happens. There we go, it's cleaning up. I tried in the past to clean it up using kerosene. That was the wrong stuff, apparently. Brake cleaner and some super fine steel wool. Let's do this side now. Before. Get some brake cleaner in the steel wool because it dries out so fast, especially with this fan going in here. It's not going to look brand new, but it will clean up some, and that's fine. The rest of the mower does not look brand new either. After, you know, there's still some staining from it there, but that is fine. That is perfectly fine. So I'm going to go at this for a little bit off camera, just scrub it nice and clean. Here's where it's at now. And I'll bring you back and show you in a little bit. Alrighty, I'm back. So, I think you'll be surprised at the results. I am. I'm very surprised. I didn't think those stubborn black lines on here and here where it went through the blower housing from rubbing on the, those lines were from rubbing on the steel, on the edges of the steel and the hole that it goes through in the blower housing for all these years. I did not think those would come off, and they did. I started with brake cleaner and it did a pretty good job, but there was a lot of staining left behind and it didn't really do anything for those heavy black lines where it rubbed the blower housing. Switched to carburetor cleaner and scrubbed a little harder, and wow, it cleaned up nice. It looks good for its age. Now we need to get this cleaned up and looking that nice, but I will not be using carburetor cleaner on this because it will melt it. More than likely it'll end up dissolving the plastic and taking it off, and that is not what I want. So the first thing I'm going to do is a little more gentle approach. The wife is asleep, and here after this video, I'm going to be, or when I go in for the night, I'm going to take this as well as some other plastic parts I need cleaned, a gentle cleaning in, and I'm going to make a nice hot, I'm going to make use the kitchen sink and fill it with some hot soapy water, some Dawn dish soap, and I'm going to use some Totally Awesome, if you know what that is. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know what that is. It's a very highly concentrated yellow cleaner, degreaser and cleaner that has like so many different uses. And you can buy it super cheap in a spray bottle or a gallon refill jug at like dollar stores everywhere. And I'm sure you can probably buy it at Walmart. I don't know. But it's called Totally Awesome. And I'm going to use a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser on this because those things do wonders for plastics. I don't know if that's going to cut this yellowish, brownish crud, but I'm going to give that a try before I do anything else. If that doesn't work, I'm probably going to resort to brake cleaner and the superfine steel wool out here in hopes to get that off of here. But I'm really not wanting to do anything to dull the shine of the plastic. So I'm going to try the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and a nice hot soapy bath first. don't tell the wife. But the last thing I'm going to do on, well, no, it's not the last thing I'm going to do, but the next thing I'm going to do on this video is, well, I guess you already seen it. I'm going to make an air filter for this air filter housing. I did find 1 or 2 places online where I can buy this air filter, but it was not, it was just a little more, it wasn't expensive by any means, but it was more than I wanted to spend on it. So, this is a 2-pack of foam air filter elements for, I believe, a generator, like a Generac generator, and I'm going to make an air filter. Two of these would fit nicely in there side by side. Two of these stacked on top of each other would be too deep. I'm just going to cut one for now. I'm going to go 1 thick. It's like about an inch-ish thick. And I'm going to set it down in there and see how I feel about it. I'm going to cut it just a little bit big. So I have to squeeze it slightly down to get it in there. So it's a nice tight fit. So as not to leak any air around it. I'm not going to cut it like real big, but you know, just a little bit big. And now I'm just cutting a couple marks on the edges to kind of mark where I need to cut. Now I'm actually going to grab my cutting board that I acquired recently on the side of the road in a pile of things. I knew if I brought this home I'd find some sort of garage use for it. And I'm going to use it exactly as intended, a cutting board, to save my butcher block top a little bit. This looks like a nice straight edge. I will go ahead and bring you guys back once this is cut out. Alrighty, so I got that cut out. This is what I'm left with. It is just slightly wider and slightly longer than the space it's going into, which is what I wanted, because it's maybe a 1/4 inch, a little over a 1/4 inch each way. Because I wanted that so it's tight, fits tightly to fill up that space and doesn't leave any room for dirty air to go around it. It has to go through the filter. Since I'm making my own filter, I want to make sure that it's not going to pass any dirty air. Ah, these bugs. The wind is picking up outside. I know there was supposed to be, when I looked at the weather earlier today, technically now yesterday, there was a chance, I guess, of a storm passing through late tonight. So that might be it coming in. Anyways, let's take a look. There we have it. That fits quite nicely. So now we have an air filter. I'm trying to remember how much the proper air filter was, the correct air filter was for this housing. It might have been like 15 to 20 bucks. And you got to understand, I'm used to buying the cheap aftermarket air filters because any more of those do just as good really as the OEM ones do. So here's a prime example. Here's a cheap aftermarket air filter. Can't tell the difference between this and a Briggs air filter. They do just fine. So I think I bought these two air filters. These two large air filters, which have a fair amount of foam to cut from to make small air filters like this. Maybe around $6 and some cents, like less than $7 on Amazon. So this was a better choice for me. So now I have my air filter. I'm just going to test on the back side of here, just a sample spot, because I'm curious now what a little bit of brake cleaner. It still has carb cleaner, and I got to be careful. Let me rinse it out with brake cleaner really well. Actually, let me just rinse it out with kerosene. To get all that carb cleaner out of it, because I don't want that carb cleaner on this plastic. There, good enough. But I'm gonna saturate it now with some brake cleaner. Get the plastic wet with some brake cleaner, and I'm just gonna give it a scrubbing. If this does nothing, then since this is the back side, I may try a little bit of carb cleaner, but I'm afraid I already know what that's going to do, and I'm probably not going to like the results. Sorry, I keep peeking outside, see what the wind is doing. Yeah, that color is pretty well soaked into the plastic. It's leached its way in. I honestly don't think anything I do is going to pull that out of there. I think if I want to get rid of that, I'm going to have to paint this, and I'm not really willing to do that. Let me try it on this side. It's really bad on this side. Yeah, I think that's just leached into the plastic after years and years, and there's nothing I can do to get that discoloration out of there, unfortunately. I tried it here, and I tried it here. As you can see, didn't make a single dent. So, I'm going to try a little bit of carb cleaner. I'm just going to put it on the steel wool or the Scotch-Brite pad. Surprisingly, it doesn't seem to be eating the plastic, or dissolving the plastic. I can hear the wind's blowing hard enough. I can hear the portable garage behind my garage here blowing around, and I can hear the garage creaking just a little bit. Don't know if you picked any of that up in the video. And it still didn't really do anything. So I'm probably stuck with this discolored white plastic, and that's okay. I was hoping to clean it up because this is going to be a display piece, this mower. I'm going to use it once maybe, but it's primarily just going to be a collectible and display piece because this was a 2-year only model, and I don't really want to use it much. I'm going to clean up the bottom side of the deck and coat it with something to kind of really drastically slow down the rust, because the deck is still very solid, and just clean the whole thing up, make it look presentable. Not going to restore it, but anyways, yeah, so I was really hoping to kind of bring this back to life a little bit, but it's okay. It is what it is. Alright, well, I still have that to address. I am gonna spray some of this gunk off of here real quick. This air cleaner housing's got some debris on it from the steel wool. I want it clean when I take it inside, as clean as possible. I am still going to try the, what's it called, Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, but I'm afraid it's not going to have any results other than what I've seen here with the 2 other methods that I just tried. So while I'm at it, I'm cleaning a little bit more on the inside of this thing. I'll do that more off camera before I take it into the house. Yeah. Alright. Sorry, easily distracted. So, I have one more thing here to do before I end this video, and that is, man, these bugs. Ah. Actually, I still have more parts to put back on it. Yeah, I still have that. I still have more assembly to do. I don't know what I was talking about, one more thing to do. Yeah, these have to go together. Okay, so first things first. Need some RTV. And I'm just going to make a little bit of a ring of RTV around the hole. See, I put a lot on there, and I didn't worry about the bolt holes. Those don't need to be sealed. just where the air-fuel mixture passes through. I am sealing this up so that way if this still does not run right, I can rule out a vacuum leak, basically. That's why I'm sealing this up. I can say, well, I know that those gaskets are all sealed up, so I know it's not a vacuum leak. The only place there would be a vacuum leak that would cause it to not run right is the throttle shaft, which that's really not all that bad. I don't think it's bad enough to make it not run right. So okay, so as you can see by the RTV squishing out, that is sealed up. This will get RTV as well when it goes on, and the same here when the air filter housing goes on, that will get RTV as well. But now we have this to put on up top. So I see that this lever here, which is part of the throttle control / governor assembly, was brazed at one point in time, and then the end broke off where the hole goes through for you to hook up a throttle cable or something. So what I'll probably end up doing is I will probably end up getting a small steel washer and brazing it onto the end of that at some point in time. So I have a little hole there that I can put a throttle cable into or something. Alrighty. Where did I put that other little bag? Here it is. That's not the right piece. I appear to have lost a little piece of throttle linkage. It goes sorry, I'm just paying attention to the weather outside. I kind of have to. If you are new to the channel, our home that we rent is an old run-down mobile home. And it is not in the greatest of shape. And in strong winds, it is not the safest place to be. So whenever there's storms, I pay very close attention to determine whether we should be here or not. Anyways, but we really want to get out of here, but we are having a hard time finding any place to rent that is as cheap as this place. So the price of renting nowadays is just absurd. So yeah, anyways. Plus here I have a 2-car garage. Yeah, there's a linkage that runs between this hole on here and this hole right here. No, never mind. It doesn't run between those two. It runs from this hole over to like the governor arm on the motor, on the motor, and then another one runs over to here. And that is very likely, I probably very likely left that on the motor, still connected to the governor arm. I have a tendency to like to do that, so I know, not only I know it's still there, but I also know how it was hooked up. So very likely I left it there. So I'm just going to go ahead and bolt this right on. And I have the witness marks in the paint. Stupid bugs. Good night. You can see where there's missing paint to show me exactly, because those are slotted holes. There's like adjustment there. And that shows me exactly where this was, so I know how it was lined up, how to realign it on here. There's train tracks not far from here. They're just close enough that we can hear a rumble when there's a train that goes by. So I'm trying to determine whether the rumble I'm hearing is actually a train or whether there's a tornado nearby in the distance. It doesn't really seem like tornado weather, and it's not really supposed to be bad enough tonight that it would get a tornado. But I mean, weather is weather. It's ever changing. So, and a forecast is just a guesstimate at best. It's an educated guesstimate. So, yeah. Alright, that is on there. So I know at some point in time, there's two things on here, two clues on here that tell me that at some point in time, this push mower had a throttle lever somewhere on it. I'm guessing probably up on the handlebars somewhere, within reach of the operator. The two things that tell me is that I can tell at some point in time there was a throttle cable hooked up here where it is broken off, and also there's a clamp here for a throttle cable sleeve. So I am going to have to find a picture of the throttle cable that went on this mower and try to come up with something that looks, it's either identical or looks similar. I do have a few vintage throttle cables around, and if I can't come up with something that at least looks close enough, I may just pick one of those and put on it and make it look nice, because at the end of the day, an incorrect throttle lever that is at least era correct would be far better than having not having one at all and it just be missing. So that appears like that is as far as we will be going in this video. So yeah, I will, the next time you guys see me working on this project, I will be putting it back on the mower, or I may skip that and just bring you guys back when I've got it on there already and I'm ready to try to start it. So put these pieces, because these pieces belong to this as well. Here is a gasket that I made. Yeah. So this gasket will go right there where the intake manifold meets the engine block, with some RTV. But yeah, next time you guys see this, I will be trying to start it. So, alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts. And do you have a Bolens Husky 18 push mower? Have you seen one? Have you used one? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Yeah, anyways, if you like the kind of content that you see on this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and I will see you in the next one. Later.